Hey Colin, tell me about yourself.
Alright, well, my name's Colin Mason. I'm a sophomore computer science major at the University of Maryland. I'm in the Business Society and the Economy program and the College Success Scholars program. I play on the club lacrosse team here as well, and I'm from Jessup, Maryland. It's
Nice,
about 30 minutes away.
it's interesting. Tell me more.
Tell you more about that? Okay. So Jessup is about right between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. It's like 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes in each direction.
Hmm.
Uh, I went to high school there, Hammond High School, which is in Columbia. I played soccer and lacrosse there.
Nice. What do you want to be known for?
Okay, so that really depends on which group you're referring to because, like, around my friends, I want to be known as the guy who's funny and just a good person to be out with, like an outgoing person. Around my family, I want to be known as the loving elder brother. Around work colleagues, I want to be known as the responsible, enthusiastic employee. But what all these people probably have in common, like there's one thing I want to be known for between all of them, is just as a trustworthy individual. I actually like really believe in the saying that a man's no better than his word. So I always plan on upholding that.
That's good. Tell me about a creative approach you took to solve a problem.
Creative approach. Okay, so uh, I'm in the Business Society and Scholars program here in Maryland, and last year our class we took a class called How do innovators think, and for the final project we had to create like a big reflection for the class, and most we were allowed to present it however we want, but most people decided to just pretty much like type out like a big like compiled journal, like a stack of paper. But I decided I didn't want to do that, and I had previously done a website for my English class where I did like the same sort of idea. So I decided, yeah, why not do it again? And it turned out to work really well because we used a lot of digital pieces for the class. So I ended up using a website, and then my teacher actually ended up liking it so much that he made me generalize my website, my project, so that it could be used for the class as a teaching tool this year.
How did you come up with this? Tell me about a time when you had the lead role in managing a student project.
Okay, well, this year I'm currently taking one studies class, and recently, me and a group of three other people had to pretty much structure a lecture for the class based off of the portrayal of Asian Americans in on television. Um, so I pretty much decided to sort of like take a leadership role in this to get out ahead of it. So I made sure that we all like met on time. I got everyone's numbers when we found out about the groups and facilitated a meet. And then when we all met, we all exchanged each other's information, and then we sort of like started just brainstorming, bouncing ideas off of each other, and then we sort of came out with a loose outline of what we wanted to do, and then we split it up between everyone. Like each person got their own section, knocked out all of our work together, and then brought it back together in practice. It was nice and simple.
Tell me about a difficult decision you've made in the last year.
Okay. So over the summer, uh, I worked at a summer camp in California, and I actually ended up going out there with just one person I knew from college. And so when we got there, we just had to meet a bunch of new people and make new friends pretty much because we were going to be there the whole summer. So one time I went out with some of these new people that I just met, and they started to pretty much partake in an activity that was illegal, and also I personally didn't want to partake in. So like at that time, I just had to like sort of think like, all right, I can either do this, and I mean, yeah, we'll be better friends with them, but I don't really want to do this, or not do it and sort of like risk the potential friendship, and I just decided to not do it. And in the end, like our friendship worth, it was still we were all still friends. I wasn't as good friends with them as I could have been, but I think it was totally worth it to not do it anymore.
Good choice. How have you worked to achieve your own professional vision?
All right. Well, currently, I see myself in the future as working with the Department of Defense agency in the field of cybersecurity. So I have been applying for many internships with government agencies like the NSA and the CIA and the U.S. State Department. And I've also applied for a fellowship with START UMD, and they study things like terrorism and radicalization. I'm also considering minoring in global terrorism, and I think these will all be things that'll help me reach my vision.
Please describe two situations for me. One in which you've received very positive feedback on your performance, and one where you received pretty negative feedback. Tell me what happened each time, what you did, and what the outcome was.
Okay, so for positive, that kind of goes back to my junior year of soccer. It's playoffs, down a goal. I scored the game tying goal, and then we went to penalties and we won. So I got a lot of positive feedback for that. A lot of respect on the team for that. So yeah, everything was good for that. But then the next season, as a senior, I actually scored an own goal in a game, and we still ended up winning the game. But I did get a lot of negative feedback for that because I scored an own goal. But it just made me bounce back and work harder, honestly.
Tell me about a time when you made a big mistake.
Big mistake. Okay, so last year at the end of finals season, or finals week, I had just pulled an all-nighter for my last final. So that same day, after the final, I started packing up. So I never got any sleep that whole day. And about 6 o'clock, I was leaving, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and I decided I wanted to drive home because I hadn't driven in forever. And about halfway home, I actually dozed off.
Tell me about a time when you made a big mistake.
Alright, well, at the end of last semester, I'd actually just pulled an all-nighter for my last final, so I was going home the same day. And after packing up and everything, it was about 6 in the afternoon, I decided when my mom got there that I wanted to drive home, because I hadn't driven in so long. So about halfway home, I actually dozed off behind the wheel, and luckily there were no oncoming cars, but it was still a pretty serious experience. Like, I woke myself up and pulled over immediately, and made my mom drive home the rest of the way. But yeah, after that, I won't get behind the car if I haven't slept at least 4 hours the night before.
Can you describe a time for me when you managed your stress really well despite difficult conditions?
Well, finals week is always a good example of that, but actually, my first finals week in college, freshman year, I got sick literally the weekend right before finals week, and I was exhausted, very sick. But luckily, I still made it through finals week and finished with a good GPA.
Describe a situation when you had to give feedback to someone for being a demotivating to a person/teammate.
Well, during my days of high school sports, I was a captain for both my soccer and lacrosse teams, so I actually ran into a lot of situations where I had to motivate my teammates when we were losing a game or something like that, and we actually came back and won a lot of them because of that.
Tell me about a time when you had to begin difficult conversation with another person.
Okay, well, when I was younger, probably around 10 or 12, I used to have a rabbit named Flopsy, and my sister was just in love with him. And one day, he actually died on a Saturday morning. So I had to break the bad news to my sister. It was pretty hard. She cried, but I just had to kind of sympathize with her and empathize with her in order to keep her happy, and she got over it.
Tell me about one of the toughest groups that you've had to work with. What made it difficult, and what did you do?
Okay, so this also goes back to my first semester, freshman year. I actually took an I-Series course on the early evolution of life on Earth, and so at the beginning of the semester we were split up into groups, and we each got a specific topic, and we had to give 4 presentations throughout the semester on the topic. It was a pretty broad topic. So we had a pretty large group, and only half of the group.
Toughest groups that you've had to work with. What made it difficult, and what did you do?
So this actually dates back to the first semester of freshman year. My geology class that I took, we all got split up into groups at the beginning of the year. We had to give 4 presentations throughout the semester, and we had pretty large groups. But the material wasn't hard, nor was the presentation. But what made it so complicated was the fact that only half of my group ever showed up, and of the people that did show up, only half of them ever wanted to present. So eventually we made it through. It was just I had to present sometimes. I presented twice actually, and it was just other people had to step up more often, but then I actually evaluated them all accordingly based off of the peer evaluation, so it all went